Assalamu alaikum. I've been practicing that all the way here, and hopefully I've got it right. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you for welcoming me to your country. It's an honour to be here today, and thank you very much indeed. So yes, I'm from the UK. I live now in Liverpool. So I've spent quite a bit of time in Manchester. So I think a lot of you might know they're there. So Manchester United, not Manchester City. So if you're into football. So I've been in Dhaka 2 days now. The first day I just slept because I flight from Dubai to Dhaka. I didn't sleep at all, so it was quite a long time. Okay, I think that agenda is going to be slightly different. So we're going to be having break at about, I think, 10:30. So ignore that. So I got that wrong. But it gives you an idea on there what we're going to have a look at today. A lot of you have been talking a lot about sort of classroom behaviour, classroom management and things like that in this sort of needs analysis. So I'm going to have a look at that. We're going to have a look at something called the principles of instruction. When we in the UK, we've been doing an awful lot of work about educational research, trying to figure out how students learn. And so we're going to have a look today about what the research says that teachers should be doing in different situations. In the afternoon, I'm going to look at how to motivate our students and how to get the best out of them, and then we're going to have a look at sort of planning lessons and other aspects like that. So that's me. I don't know if you can see on the screen, just at the bottom. So that was 1995. I was 19, I think. So I'd just gone to university and decided to go out with my friends and to have some food. So we thought, who's got the best food in the world? Bangladesh. So we went to Brick Lane, and that photograph I took in 1995 at Brick Lane. So saying this. And I said when I was there in 1995, it's sort of beautiful food. One day I will go to Bangladesh, and 2024 I'm now here. So it took me a very long time. So here's a few of the pictures that I've taken in the 2 days that I've been here. First of all, your money, right? I don't understand it, okay? I have no idea what's going on with your money, so I'm just trying to figure that out. So if someone explains it to me. What I've also looked at, this is the notice in my lift. Have a look at what that says. Now, if you say that in the UK, if someone showed you that in the UK, nobody would get in that lift. They'd be like, hey, no way I'm getting in that lift because it's going to break down, right? So I was just like, you know, everything's been fine so far. You've got some lovely drinks. I had one of those. That was absolutely delicious. And you do water very well, right? The lakes and everything else is beautiful to see. So many beautiful flowers. I've taken a picture of that on a walk yesterday. It's absolutely gorgeous. I guess in Dhaka you need to know how to ride a bike, because I've seen bikes everywhere. So lots of people, different things like that. This blew my mind, right? So you've got a railway, and you decide to build on top of the railway. I mean, that's quite impressive. That's something else. This is the bravest man in Dhaka. Okay? Right? Look at him, right? He's like all the way up, and he's got this massive long bamboo pole, and I'm like, oh, wow. You know, so when he came down, I shook his hand. I'm like, respect to you. He was very impressive. So that's my 2 days in Dhaka so far. So those different pictures that I've seen. Okay. So I'll take you back to when I started teaching. Has anyone seen this? Okay, right, okay. I can quantify the amount of time I wasted in my life on this in about months. For several months of my life I spent. So I had this phone when I first started teaching. I took this to my first job, and I had this phone, and my mum was like, you've got a new job, I'll buy you a present. So what do you want? So I wanted this. Okay. Anyone seen this? Right? Okay, right? 10,000 songs in your pocket, right? I didn't have 10,000 songs, but if I did, I could put them in my pocket. So I went to my first job with those two things, okay? I didn't have any money because I just started working, so I went on the bus. okay? Now, the first school I worked at, it was a school in Manchester, and the students were a little bit, you know, okay, a little bit like that. So because I didn't have a car, I had to get the bus to school. I got the same bus as the students, okay? Not a good idea. So basically what happened was, I started getting the bus. Now in school, they didn't listen to me. I would say stop, they just carry on running. I said shh, they'd just ignore me. So on the bus, on the way there, they didn't listen to me in school. So they ain't going to listen to me on the bus. So what I did was, I got the biggest newspaper possible. And I sat on the bus and hid. Went onto the top deck, right to back. And I did that for about 6 months. So what I did was, when the bus got to the school, I stayed on for the next 2 stops, got off, and then walked back to the school. So none of the children knew. So it went on for 6 months. And then one day, one lad was messing about, like causing chaos and throwing stuff around. This one lad came up and went, "All right, sir, how are you?" And everybody on the bus turned round, right, and looked at me. You teach these children? You've let them destroy our lives for months. And I was like, so I came home that night and said to my wife, "We're getting a car. I can't go on the bus anymore. We're getting a car." So that was my first experience of the sort of like transport. This was a technology I had in my classroom. Has anyone still got these? They're brilliant, right? So you write them all, and then you go like this, and it just rolls around, and it just keeps going. So what I did on one of the first days is I used to prepare all my lessons. So right on here, prepared all the different diagrams, moved it around. Nobody told me that during the night time, the cleaner came in and wiped the board. So I was like, ready to, where'd you go? So that was about 2 years. 2 years of my teaching, I had that. And then the head of the department came in and said, "We're getting some new technology. Do you want some technology in your class?" I was like, "Yeah, God, give me some technology." He gave me this. That changed my life, right? These things were brilliant. Okay? You could has anyone seen these? Okay? Like the plastic sheet, you used to write on them, and you could save it from different lessons. That was brilliant. So that's basically what my basic into teaching. And I guess, who's just started teaching? Who's any kind of like, okay, all right, yes, some new people started teaching, welcome to the profession. When you look at teacher development, when you look at all the research, what teachers say about teacher development, they normally talk about 4 different stages of the way teachers progress. So the final stage, who's been teaching, say, more than 10 years? Hands up, been teaching more than 10 years, okay. So this is you. You're mature teachers, okay? So you're experienced, you know what you're doing. Teachers have been teaching maybe about 5 and 6 years. You go through this. Who's been teaching that long? Between 5 and 6 years. Yeah, okay, right. So sometimes what happens at this point is you get a bit tired. Yeah, you get a bit tired. And you need a bit something to get you going again. So this is called renewal stage. So any teachers been teaching 3 years? About 3 years, okay. So you're starting to figure out what's going on in the classroom now. We call this consolidation. But the new teachers who've just started, no matter where you look in terms of the research, they always call this stage of teacher development the same thing. They call it survival. Right? Because it is. When you're teaching, you're basically, how long till the end of the lesson, right? Can I make it till there, or are they going to eat me alive? And it gets to that point, and it's quite scary. And people really don't understand that teaching is quite lonely. You know, there's you and all the children, and that's it in the classroom. And sometimes, I guess, when you're trying to figure out how do I teach, what do I need to do, you know, you can't ask the children, can you? You know, so I guess this is what today's about, trying to figure out what do we need to do. Because sometimes when you're in the classroom and it's, you know, it's quite scary, and I mean, I've been there. You know, I've had situations where, you know, when I first started teaching, I was like, I don't think I can do this job. You know, I don't think I can do it. It's too hard. You know, and so it took an awful lot of sort of talking to other people. So, and I guess that's one thing about professional development is trying to be open and honest with each other about sometimes in the classroom things are really hard. You know, they are. And the only way we get better is by talking to each other. Okay? And I guess that's what I want from the next 2 days. You know, the opportunity for you just to talk to each other and say, how do you do that? All right? Because when I stand at the front of the class and ask them to be quiet, they just ignore me. You know, how did you do it? So I guess that's what I want from today. So when I sort of say work in your group, that's what I want you to do. Just to talk openly and honestly with each other about how do I actually do this? Because if we don't share ideas, we'll never get better. That's what I want. So Shaheen sort of sent me lots of details about what you said, about what you wanted to be in the training. Have you got about 3 weeks? Because the list that you sent me was huge, okay? So what I'm going to try and do is try and take all those things and try and put it into 2 days, and fingers crossed we might get somewhere. You know, that's the hope. This is what one person said. I quite like this. So an awful lot of people talked about trying to gain knowledge about how to, I guess, classroom practice, classroom management, how to get the buggers to sit down and shut up, you know, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. So it's always all around. Student-teacher relationships. And I think that this bit here is key. You know, relationships. For me, teaching is all about the relationship you have with the student. All right? Because if it wasn't, you could just put a computer in front of the class and say, go. The only way the students actually learn is by you becoming invested in their lives. To figure out what makes them tick. You know, if I want to speak to you, I need to figure out what is it that makes you understand. Yeah? So trying to have that connection with the different pupils. That's, I guess, is what the key thing about. I quite like this one. Right. First of all, can someone explain to me what is Gen Z? Because I have no idea. Right. That's the first thing. Right. Yeah, Generation Z. Okay. And it's weird, isn't it? You know, it's like we tend to think now that all the different students are different. You know, we tend to think because they've got phones and all these other things, they are acting differently now. And it's strange. I guess when we look at when we were at school and now look at them, we didn't do those things. They're far naughtier now than they used to be. And for generations, everybody's been saying the same thing. Right? Everybody's been saying that the students now are worse than they were before. Right? Now, either that's true, and if you think about it, so 100 years ago, the students were perfect, and now they're monstrous, or it's just our perception. You know, we just think that they are worse. You know, because our tolerance has got less. When you get older, right, you tolerate less. You know? I know when I first started teaching and I said silence, there used to be little murmurings going on. Now if I say silence, it's like, shut up. You know, that's the kind of thing. So as you get older, you tolerate less. So that's one thing to remember with that. I guess Generation Z, they are different. And I think growing up today is harder, mainly because they've got mobile phones. Yeah, and everything is recorded. Like today, since I've been here, I must have had my picture taken 20 times. Yeah. So that never used to happen. But so now, students act differently because they're being recorded all the time. There's no freedom anymore. So sometimes, I guess, in our classrooms, what we need to do is give them the opportunity to just be children. It's just actually enjoy themselves. That's going to be an important thing. This is quite a long one. COVID. I think we'll have to start by sort of mentioning COVID, yeah? COVID was weird, wasn't it? You know? I think there's 2 years that I've lost 2 years of my life. You just went somewhere, okay? It just got deleted. And I think after COVID now, in the UK as well, there's lots of students who are really struggling. Lots of students who feel very insecure. Lots of our students don't know how to talk to each other. Yeah, I think some nodding like that. This goes on as well. You know, and I think they will. All this sort of research that's been done, they said they will be able to notice this generation forevermore, because this generation will have a different type of skills. They'll have less. You know, when they go through university and they go through all these different jobs and everything else, you will always know, did you grow up in COVID? Because they missed out on 2 years of actually being together. You know, and I know for me, you know, we were sort of locked up on our own. It got really, really hard. You know, it's very sad, and we sort of got quite depressed. Imagine if you are very young going through that. And that's what they're having to deal with. They've been sort of very upset, and they've get very emotional. And when children get like that, they tend to do one of two things. They go quiet, or they go mental, right? So it's one or the other. So look at your children who are very quiet, because those are the children that might need your help. Look at it, because we tend to just focus all of our attention on the children who are going mental. I like this one. This is my favourite one, so I picked this one out. Whoever wrote this, a genius. I like it. So this is what someone in this room wrote down, and I like it. So the only way you're going to become a better teacher, I guess, is to be a better learner. And thank you for whoever wrote that. That's really impressive. So when I put all your needs analysis into one of these word clouds, this is what came out. I guess that's why we're here, isn't it? Because teaching, that's the main thing. There's a lot of things about students, strategies, skills, so training, development, things like that. So this is what you want from the next 2 days. So I'm going to start you off on your, all right, you ready? On your tables, okay? This is where you've got to talk to each other. All right, you've got 4 minutes, okay? 4 minutes. What I want you to do is every table, I want your definition of what is teaching. This is your job, people, so you better know what it is. All right? So what is teaching? All right, that's very, 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 okay, here we go. So I've got, this group said they've got it, okay? So I'm coming to this group. So who's going to speak for your group? You're all teachers. Now, nobody so far has said the same thing. All right? Now that's really bizarre. All right? Because this is your job, people, and nobody in this room can agree what it is you actually do. All right? Now, if this was a room of accountants, okay, I'd start off, what is accountancy? And they'd be off, accountancy is... Accountancy is easy, right? It's just numbers, yeah? Teaching, your job is phenomenally hard because nobody knows exactly what you do. All right? Okay? Now, quite a lot of you talked about students learning something. Yeah? And I guess that's the main thing, I guess. If you're going to teach, there's no point if everybody's not listening. You want them to learn, yeah? So are we all sort of in agreement that teaching is some kind of learning? Yeah? We're going to sort of, tentatively, okay, right. You've only got 1 minute on this, right? And I'm going to randomly come to different people. You want your students to learn, yeah? Okay, right, what is learning? 1 minute. What is learning? All right, I'm going to do what teachers always do. They say they're going to give you 1 minute and only give you 30 seconds. What's learning? Comprehending the knowledge. Okay, I've got one. Miss, what is learning? Come on, talk to me.
To know what it is.
Yeah, what is learning?
To know what it
To
is.
know what it is.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, all right. I
Thank
can't
you.
beat that. Right? You were stretching, so come on. So what is learning?
To acquire something.
To
acquire something.
Okay, nice. So far we've had knowledge. Yeah. Now some people are talking about skills. Yeah. So this is the bizarre thing about what you do, right? Not only can nobody agree what it is that your job actually is, nobody can actually agree what it is you're trying to do in the first place. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to unpick, I guess, if you're going to be a better teacher, you want your students to learn in a better way, we're going to have to try and understand what are we trying to do in the first place. Because sometimes, and this is the hard thing about teaching, sometimes a lot of what we do day in, day out, we think we're doing a good job. We think this is what our students need. And actually, it's not. We're wasting a lot of our time because we don't really understand what learning is. Yeah, learning goes on inside the heads of our students. And we can't see it. Yeah, it's just going on and we're linking these different things together. So if we're trying to actually understand what's going on from there to there and we can't see it, you know, sometimes when we're doing certain things, we're actually stopping them from learning. And sometimes we need to stop doing some of the good things that we're doing to do things that are even better. So that's what I'm going to try and tease out today. If you've not heard this guy before, the next training session, you want to book him. He's a lot better than me, all right? Dylan William is fantastic, okay? Dylan William is a guy who knows an awful lot about assessment, curriculum, and other aspects like that. If you Google him, he's got loads and loads of resources on the internet, and he's got enough training on there for your lifetime and for you to become a better teacher. All right, so I'm going to play you a little bit of a clip from him and what he talks about teachers becoming better teachers.
I think the only way we can improve teacher quality is to create a culture of continuous improvement. And that is given lip service in many districts, but nobody's really facing up to what it really means in practice. You see, I think that every teacher needs to get better. In many districts, they target help at the teachers who need support, who need help, who are having difficulties. Well, you know what? Every teacher has difficulties. Every teacher fails on a daily basis. If you're not failing on a daily basis, you're just not paying attention. Because we fail all the time. Many of you will walk out of this room absolutely convinced I said stuff I know I didn't say. As teachers, we fail all the time. We teach these brilliant lessons, we take in the notebooks, we look at what the kids had written, and we wonder what planet they were on when we were teaching this stuff. Our daily experience as teachers is a failure, which makes it the best job in the world, because you never get any good at it. At one time, Andrei Previn was the highest paid film score composer in Hollywood, and one day he walked into his office and he quit. And people said, "Why did you quit this amazing job?" He said, "I wasn't scared anymore." Every day he was going into his office knowing his job held no challenges for him. This is something you are never going to have to worry about. This job you're doing is so hard that one lifetime isn't enough to master it. So every single one of us needs to accept the commitment to carry on improving our practice until we retire or die. That's the deal.